How do you build a successful employee ambassador program? That's the talk of the town in employer branding at the moment. Emphasis being on successful, as so many organizations have tried and failed with people seeking the truth and expecting trustworthy communication and marketing. Employee advocates are probably your most trusted spokespeople in recruitment marketing and employer branding, especially if you let them use their authentic and relatable voices and share their perspectives on the work, the culture, the values, and the future in your organization. Now, I had the luxury of talking to a young employer brand marketing star from a company called Mitgo in Germany about their employee ambassador program that she launched. And in this episode of Building a Modern Employer Brand podcast, my guest, Veronika Batmanova, shares her experiences from planning to launching and managing their employee ambassador program. And you're going to learn about her engagement strategies, how she has instructed the ambassadors, what social media they use, how she motivates and rewards the ambassadors, what lessons she has learned so far from facilitating and inspiring their ambassadors to create content. So without further ado, let's jump on this interview. All right, Veronika, can you introduce yourself and share a bit about your background and role within the company?
Hello, Susanna. First, thank you for invitation. My name is Veronika and I'm an employer brand manager at Mitgo company. I have been working in the company for almost 6 years. And since June, I'm leading our employer ambassadors program.
I'm so happy to have you on this podcast because we've been planning about this for a while and talking about it for a while. And finally, we're here. So welcome.
Here we are. Thank you.
If our audience doesn't know or hasn't heard about Mitgo before, can you sort of briefly introduce what your company does? And also, because this is an employer branding podcast, so how would you describe the people who work for Mitgo?
Sure. So Mitgo is a global company. We have our headquarters in Germany, but we operate globally and we have offices all over the world. We have around 600 employees and we are quite international. So we help people to earn money online and we invest and grow online businesses with different tech and marketing solutions. We have a lot of innovation. Our CEO, our team, they're always coming up with something new, with new ideas for businesses, for scaling our projects. If we talk about our employees, about our people, I would say that we have a very dynamic, interesting and young professionals. So we have a lot of young people and that's really great. And to be honest, I also have a lot of friends among my colleagues and among my ex-colleagues. So it's a bit more than just a workplace. We are all goal-driven. We have a lot of energy and we're always ready to changes because it's also one of our values.
If we think about skills sort of perspective, what kind of skills people working for Mitgo possess?
So we have a lot of IT guys because we're a tech company as well. We have a lot of business development managers as we're developing in different countries and we need business development, sales managers, marketing managers. HR department is also important because you cannot hire new talents without human resources team.
The company, is it still managed and run by the entrepreneurs or has that changed?
I would say our CEO, he's truly an entrepreneur and our co-founder as well. It's still the same people. So our CEO, Alex Bachman, he started the company in 2009 and he's still the main person in a company. And a lot of our C-level, many of them are working almost from the beginning.
That's pretty amazing. 2009, did you say?
Yeah,
that's
so
also
15 years ago.
Yeah, and tell me again how many people was working for you?
So now we have around 600 people in total.
Yeah. That's amazing.
And
Cool.
I would also mention that our CEO, when he started his business, like he started a company, he was young because he's turning only 36 on the 2nd of November.
Wow.
I think that also influences why we have so many young professionals in the company,
Absolutely.
and the vibe of the culture is so dynamic. I think it plays a big role.
So let's talk about your ambassador program.
Let's do that.
What we discussed before, and it was the wonderful topic for this episode, is the work that you've done for your ambassador program. This is something that I know that is going to be so exciting and interesting for probably most of our listeners, because many companies are wanting to sort of employ their employees as ambassadors, and equally I would say that many companies are struggling with it, but yours has been quite successful. So I think it's going to be interesting to share your experiences and like the structure, like what have you done to make it work so well. But let's start from the beginning. What prompted you or the company in the beginning to even start an ambassador program?
I had these thoughts about launching ambassadors program for a while because I personally believe, I really strongly believe that employee voices on social media are very important. If the company is good, people are gonna talk about it, but they need sometimes a push or a suggestion ambassadors program. But funny thing is, if the company is bad, they will talk about it for sure.
Yep, that's
And
true.
I always had the thoughts with that we have a great corporate culture. We have a lot of interesting internal events. Our people are getting along with each other and they're happy about working in a company. So why don't we tell about it on social media, not on our corporate accounts, but also through our employees, like their voices, because it's more authentic. And I had these thoughts for a while. And finally, in June, in the beginning of May, I think we started planning it with the marketing team. Our struggle was that we didn't have money, like we didn't have big budgets. And also, I think it's before starting every program and also ambassadors program, it's important to explain C-level team that it's important that they understand the importance of this launch. Why should they invest money on it? I think it's the first step in every company. Because many people in many companies, unfortunately, still don't understand the value of that, but it's changing now. So I think it was the first step, and then we started planning how we can organize it. How can we plan it without investing in too much money in it? We talked with some employee advocacy platforms. There are many employee advocacy platforms that help you make this process smoother to collect all analytics, to collect content in one place. But to be honest, from my perspective, these platforms are kind of expensive. And secondly, it doesn't make sense for a small size company. Maybe when a company has thousands of employees, of course, it's not easy to collect all analytics alone or like in a team. But if the company size is middle, like 600 employees, 500 employees or less, I truly believe that you can start doing it without any platform and just try it and to see how it goes. So this was our approach. And we started planning everything with the marketing team in May. And
Did you already by then?
Yeah.
Did you already by then have in mind like the employees that you wanted to take part in it, or were you just did you just like start planning and then with that plan approach people and see who's interested?
Sure. So of course, when we started planning it, I know a lot of people in a company, and I follow a lot of people, of course, in my connections on LinkedIn, Instagram, and because I'm for so many years in a company, I already have an eye. I see who is active, who is less active. So we kind of made a list of people who are already kind of active on social media, on LinkedIn, who is not active, but whom we would really like to have in a program. So we made a list of participants who could potentially join the program, but we didn't want to work closely only with these people. We wanted to announce it for everyone. because also every voice matters, and every post, even if a person just started, and even if a person doesn't have a big network yet, it can change. And every person also has an audience, or can start building audience. So that's why our plan was to give this opportunity to everyone. When we prepared all materials, we announced the launch of the program in our main channel, and we also created a separate channel, Slack, devoted to the program.
Okay.
And
So that's like
yeah,
your internal communication channel with those ambassadors.
yeah, we announced on our main channel, where we have all employees from all over the world, and we invited them to ambassadors channel. Who wanted, they could join it, and they still can. And we also made an open call where we explained why we need it, what are the goals of the program, why it's important, and why it makes sense for employees to join, because it was a key thing to explain that they're also building their personal brand. Of course,
Right.
they're promoting company values, but at the end of the day, they're building their network.
Right.
It's a win-win collaboration, let's say.
Can I
And
ask you, when you mentioned, because this is something that I know that many people in the audience are wondering, what exactly do we say so that they understand the win-win, or what exactly do we have to do as an employer or include in this program so that there is that win-win? When you mentioned that you explained the goals and what the win-win are, can you describe in more detail what those are in your case?
so from my point of view, there are at least two types of people in a company. There are leaders and managers on a high position, and they usually have a lot of thoughts, they have a lot of experience, and they have a lot to say. But the problem with these people is that they often don't have time for posting the content, because they're busy with other stuff. This is the first type of people. Second type of people are people on a middle position or junior positions. They have time, and they even have energy, and they would like to post the content, but they're not always aware how they could start and what could they start talking about. So one of our steps also before the intro call about the program, was to create ambassador's guide and to create a posting policy, because people should know what they are allowed to post and what they better don't post. If they don't have this published, they're afraid, okay, maybe I shouldn't talk about it, maybe it's not allowed. So they should have clarity on what is okay to post and what is not.
Can you give an example of the kinds of things that you recommend them to post about, and then the kinds of things that you said that don't post about these?
So we don't have any strict rules, to be honest. Everything is quite light, because we're also, I mean, if you create a policy where you have 50 bullet points with no post, after reading them, a person will say, I will better not start. I'm fine with my own life. So we decided to cover the main topics, let's say. We asked our employees, for instance, not to take part in hot conversations about politics or religion, these spicy topics, let's say, or if there is an argument where there's a company involved, it can always be. We also ask employees not to start continuing the conversation in comments if there is still no official position from a company, because if the company image is involved, a public relation department, press office should be in charge of that. But I would say we don't have any strict rules. Of course, we also ask people ideally not to post images with a bad quality, with a low quality, or with a lot of alcohol on the picture when it's like not appropriate. But in general, I would say that our rules are quite soft, and we don't have anything strict, just some basics.
Right. Did you give them like any guidance on then what to post about, like any inspiration on any like shared topics that you want them to advocate specifically?
Yeah, sure. So first of all, we also, after launching the program, 1 month later, like 3 weeks later, I would say, we also organize the call for everyone who would like to join about discussing a content plan. Everyone could suggest their ideas or discuss his or her ideas for the month, and we created a tab where people could write down their topics, what they want to post and when, and they could always reach out to me or to our marketing manager Elena or any other person from marketing team and to get an advice. We are very open with that, and people sometimes come to me and ask, hey, can you look if the text is smooth or should I change something? Can you give me some suggestions just from that to look at it and from the other angle? And of course I always help with this kind of requests, and I'm happy to help because then I see that the people are involved and they try to create unique and interesting content for the audience and also promote the company. Also, what is important and what we started doing, and I think I will try doing it on a regular basis. Of course, sometimes people don't have inspiration or they run out of topics. What works really well, and I think we will definitely launch it again before the new year, it's a flash mob thing. What can you do? You can say, hey guys, we're launching a flash mob. We suggest you to write about your sum ups, your year conclusions, because the year is coming to an end. Let's say we do it like a new year flash mob. And then what is important that we encourage people to write about the year conclusions. A lot of people do it anyway, because you can always reflect on your year, your career journey, the projects you did, goals you achieved. But what is also important to add a small gamification detail and say you write about your year conclusions and you tag at least one colleague to continue the conversation. And then this colleague also has to write about his or her new year conclusions. And then it goes and goes and goes. Even before Ambassadors program, we already had thoughts about launching it, and we decided to try with a flash mob, and it worked really well. So I think this year we'll repeat with this new year flash mob at least. We also did mini flash mobs, like I gave people 3 topics. For instance, like, hey guys, this week I suggest you to reflect on your career journey. So how you became a sales manager, how you became HR manager, whatever, any other role. And also ask your colleagues to share their stories. You can write a post about people who inspire you or any books, podcast recommendations. When people have these sessions, sometimes it's easier for them to understand what to post about. Of course, always, like, autumn is a high season for conferences, and our team who is involved in business posted content about meetups, different conferences, etc., events. I find it very important that they also show that they're attending these conferences, that they're doing a sum up posts after the conference. For instance, I went to Budapest to Affiliate World Summit with one our team, and I was in charge of helping them with LinkedIn content and helping with the company content in general. So what we did, I covered Instagram, LinkedIn content for our official pages. It was a small team, me and 3 more people. And I told them, guys, you need to do posts every day, like at least a small post, like, hey, here we are, we're already in Budapest, we arrived. Then we did sum ups after the conference, and our CEO of this business was really surprised and inspired how many impressions he got, how people started interacted with him, how director of the conference answered him in comments, and etc. It's important, and it's also, for me, it's very pleasant when you start working with people in this direction and they start seeing the impact. And at this point, you understand that it's worth it. For me, it's very important. Also, of course, I was very happy when some of our posts of our employees went viral. For instance,
what do you mean viral? Like
they managed to get like lots of impressions for the post, like above expected?
One colleague from India, I love her because she's our ambassador star. She's posting a lot. Actually, our Indian team in general, thank you, Indian team. They're like very, very enthusiastic and very active in this program. So one colleague, Diksha, she's our HR manager in India. She made a post. I remember, I think it was one of the first viral posts. She made a post about International Yoga Day and how our team celebrated it in the office. So she just showcased a good vibe in a company, internal event, people gathering together for yoga. And then her post got like more than 1,000 likes, and I guess it was 1,500, maybe more. And what is more important, impressions, because this post was seen, I think, by more than 100,000 people. And that's really great because it's not your network size. I also had, when I launched this program, I thought, okay, I should also be an example and I should also start posting. So I persuaded myself that I need to do posts on a regular basis, also at least once a week. And I also noticed that some of my posts, they didn't go that viral, but on some posts I had like 12,000 impressions, 10,000 impressions, even so my network is, for now, it's only 3,000 connections. So for instance, my manager, she made a post in August after coming back from her vacation in July, and the post was with the topic how to get back to work after vacation, what helps you to stay focused, to get back to work smoothly after 2 weeks. Like, I mean, it's distracting time, especially if you're on the other part of the world. And she made a post and she posted a photo with her daughter. It was very authentic. And then an official LinkedIn account mentioned her and commented her post, and her post also went viral. It was not more than 100,000, but it was around 40,000 impressions, what is also quite incredible in sense that she never had this number before.
Very rewarding when they receive that kind of attention for the post, and they like to make them feel like, oh, I definitely want to do this again. So it's kind of contagious.
Yeah,
I want to go back just a little bit, just to clarify our audience. So you've mentioned LinkedIn and you mentioned Instagram, but what is like the primary platform where your ambassadors are doing this work?
For sure, LinkedIn, for many reasons. First, LinkedIn, as we all know, more business career-oriented space, and it's important to build your profile on LinkedIn. Second, Instagram. Many people see Instagram as a private space, and many people even have closed accounts. So that means if the ambassador for their closed account, it will not have that much impact as on LinkedIn. Also, what I noticed when I post for our official Mitgo account on Instagram, sometimes people tag our account quite often actually, but I don't see it because their personal accounts are closed. That's why I cannot repost this story. So with Instagram, it's a bit tricky. And I have explained people many times, if you want that we repost your content, your account should be open. When you made a post, you can open it, we do a repost, and you can close it. But it's not going to work if your account is closed. It was funny because some people were like, oh, my content they don't repost my content, they don't like it. No, we just don't see it because if the account is closed, it's not possible. So that's why I also think that in Instagram now people post something personal more often. Of course, there's still business-oriented Instagrams for sure, but still there is a lot of personal space or entertainment space, like different reels, because people come to Instagram to relax. So for us, we defined LinkedIn as the primary platform.
What about TikTok or YouTube? Because obviously you mentioned that your employee profile is quite young. I would assume that they are at least active watching videos on TikTok and YouTube?
I guess some our employees have TikTok, but there's still, so we have a young team, but not that TikTok young, I would say. So I'm 28 years old, and I downloaded TikTok only 2 months ago because I said, okay, I give up, and okay, I give up. I confirm, I understand that there is still a lot of useful content on TikTok and a lot of creative content on TikTok. So I should have it just to understand what's going on. But I would say, I may be wrong, but I'm almost sure that many people, even in our company, they don't consider TikTok as a serious platform. It's changing now. But the question is, it's always important to understand the goal, the reason why do we need TikTok. Do we need to attract young people now to our company? In this current phase, we don't attract that many young people like postgraduates. That means that we don't necessarily need TikTok because our target audience, potential employees there, for now, a bit older than this TikTok main audience. I don't want to say that
Actually,
there is not, there are no, yeah,
TikTok audience has grown a lot, and I think that
yeah,
the last data that, and not, I mean, I still agree with you that sort of the personality of TikTok content is very different from business content, but it's also a media to win attention of your target
yeah.
audience. You just need to create different kind of content that you would on LinkedIn. Last time that I really digged into sort of TikTok global data, demographic data, I was surprised to see that close to half of the users are older than 30, or was it even 35? So it's definitely growing. It's no longer like just sort of like a teenage media. But
Yeah,
nevertheless, we always have to think about what are the goals of the marketing approach, and what are our main messages, and what's the most likely manner to get people involved, because it is difficult to make the kind of content that works on TikTok, and it may not be something
yeah.
that people want to approach. Another question that I had was like, how many ambassadors like roughly are active on a weekly basis in your program?
Just one more comment about TikTok.
Yeah.
I totally agree with you that it's changing and the more elder people are joining TikTok as well. And which trend I also noticed, and I find it very inspiring. So maybe at one day we will also do it at Mitgo. What companies do on TikTok? Do company accounts, so it's not necessarily like ambassadors program on TikTok, but they do company accounts where they do funny videos with employees. So on TikTok, employees act as ambassadors, but for the official company account,
Right.
for very and videos like very creative and funny sometimes. Like some weeks ago, I saw a video from PricewaterhouseCoopers Luxembourg. They did a very short video about the importance of having an employee bestie at the workplace. And it was so funny and so simple, but so creative. And I was surprised that I think a lot of people have a perception of PricewaterhouseCoopers as a serious consulting company from Big Four. And then you open their TikTok account and they have TikTok account and you think, wow, that's great. So that's definitely a shift, and I think it's a good shift. And I was interested. I started scrolling these videos, and I think a lot of people did the same. So I think it's maybe a good time for companies also to tap into TikTok. But it should, if you do it well, you should devote a lot of time to that to make it not look stupid, look funny and creative. But if there are resources in a company, I think it's definitely worth it. Now coming back to your question about active ambassadors and the program. Well, so for now we have around 90, I think 90 members in ambassadors chat.
90, not
90,
19, 90.
90, 90. So
Wow.
almost
Wow.
100. But yeah, I mean, it's a good percentage in terms of our company.
Oh, yeah.
But
I
I
would say
cannot
so.
say they're not all of them are posting very often. So some of them, but we also told people like, look, You can still join a chat, and you can, even if you don't post this week, you can always support your colleagues who are posting with likes and comments, and to help them get more engagement. I would say like really, really active. We have around 15-20, but I still consider it's a good number, because recently
It is still a good
so
number.
like Henkel, for instance, Henkel, it's a very big company, and they define only 15 ambassadors, but they are working with them more closely. I think I'm satisfied with the results. I would like to scale it and to involve more people. I also noticed like what is the problem, and I will try to fix it next month. What is important for ambassadors to keep them motivated and to keep them posting? Several things. They should be motivated, and they should know what will I get, like recognition, some rewards if I post. How much should I post? How many posts should I have at the end of the month? They should have clear goals. Without clear goals, they will not do it on regular basis. Only still, we have some people who are doing it on fully enthusiasm, especially in India. This month, it was a bit tricky time, and I didn't define goals for this month. So I mentioned that we will have rewards as always, but I didn't say what. I didn't say what exactly they should do to achieve these rewards, and it's bad. Like, it was not a good strategy without clarifying it.
You immediately noticed that the clarity, when the 1 month that you were not clear about the goals and you were not specific about what the outcomes or the rewards are, then that immediately impacted and made them like less engaged with the program.
less
I think that's
involved.
I think that's a really important message also to our audience, of the clarity and of because this is not their priority at work. So it means that if we don't remind them about it and give them goals and activate them with rewards or objectives, give them feedback, give them those shout outs about, the impressions or the engagement or the sort of the metrics that tell us of the reach, then it kind of signals them that if you're not doing it, why should they do it, right? So I think that's a really, really important message. And when we spoke about this before the summer vacation, when we spoke about last time, you mentioned that you have had these rewards. Can you share some examples of what kind of rewards have you given out, and what does an ambassador have to do or reach or gain so that they can actually get a reward, just as examples for others and inspiration of what has worked for you?
Sure. For instance, in July, we announced it in the beginning of the month that 3 most active ambassadors will get airports or any equivalent price for this amount of money, like for this budget. And everyone wanted these prizes, even so it was July, and I was a bit afraid. July is often a vacation month. I had vacation almost 2 weeks. I still managed the program, but the engagement was high because people were like, wow, I want to get airports. And they started really making more posts. And we had different categories. We had categories with the most impressions on the post. So that means that people had to send me their analytics, because I can only see my impressions. There was also a number of gained likes, and I think at the end we did like 2 people with majority of impressions. But what I'm trying to say is that there can be different categories of rewarding. And also, like in August, we announced Amazon cards. We made them personal, so not only just a card without any text, etc. On Amazon, when you order online card, you can make your own design. So we asked our design team to make a special design for ambassadors with hashtag to thank them for their input, that they feel special, because this recognition it's important. Actually, now we want to thank everyone who is in the chat and who made at least 3 posts. We're gonna thank all people because it's still an impact and it's important. And now I'm thinking about cooler prizes, but I cannot announce them yet.
Okay.
What
All right.
what I find also important, and I hope that we will maybe come to this point one day, it's to organize ambassadors meetups that they also feel special, and to gather them somewhere, I don't know, kind of a small corporate party for ambassadors, but
That sounds like a
it's
good
it's
idea.
not planned yet. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of also complicated when the company is based in different offices. It's not that easy, but I think it's still can be possible maybe one day. I hope.
If you were to start an ambassador program today from scratch with all the experience, knowing what you know now, what would you do differently?
Differently, I would definitely plan this motivation system better. Now I know with my own experience how it works. What I also found out during the program, that it's important to check up, to check and to push people sometimes, or to write them like, hi, how is going? How is your content plan? What is about? I saw you were on the conference last week. It would be great if you make a sum up post, or just sometimes pushing them, not in an annoying way, because then it's can be negative, but just checking in and asking like, hey, are you planning something this week? Do you need any help? You can always reach out to me. So to give this feeling of supportive, of this supportive vibes, this feeling that they can always ask for advice, they can always reach out if they seek inspiration, and we can think together. And I'm eager to help people, and especially when I see this input and I see the result, it drives me to continue the program. But I would definitely plan the motivation system better, and to discuss from the beginning what kind of benefits we could provide, and which condition, to have like kind of a clearer picture, and to keep this motivation going. Because at the end of the day, motivation is the most important. If people don't have motivation, if it's not organized in a entertaining gamification way, they can not only be driven only by inspiration.
Yeah.
You will not scale the program only with enthusiasm. You need something else. You need some tricks. You need a special approach. You need to get this involvement, and to make it interesting, and to give this feeling that being an ambassador, you are also growing your brand, you are helping the company, you benefit from a different perspective, and you get recognition. That's important. Yeah.
One final question. Where do you draw your inspiration for all the ideas that you feed into this program?
Well, to be honest, I was always keen on writing, and since my school time, I wrote diaries, personal diaries. I was just search inspiration from traveling, interaction with people. Sometimes it comes randomly. I just, okay, oh, I could write about that. That's resonates with me. Or some trends, like you can always notice trends on LinkedIn, and write something from your perspective, from your heart. If something is happening in the company, internal event, conference, whatever, it's easier to write about it. But there are also many topics that are always up to date. People instead inspire you, your previous experience, and how you use your previous experience in your current role, your interaction with colleagues. There can be so many topics. It's no limit.
That's true. Okay, so if anybody wants to connect with you online, how can they find you?
I'm always open to new connections and to any networking. People can always find me on LinkedIn. I would be happy to talk and to discuss ambassadors program, any other employer branding HR related topics, and to exchange ideas.
And if we want to see how your people are doing this ambassador, does the Mitgo company profile, does it always reshare those posts? Is it no?
No, we started we considered it that sometimes we should reshare posts, but then it would be too much. It would look like a bit like spam. Of course, sometimes it makes sense to repost, but unfortunately, we cannot repost any post, especially if it's devoted. It is devoted to one event. It would make our page too, yeah, too active with the same content.
Is there a hashtag everyone uses so that you can follow the hashtag?
So we ask people always to put hashtag Mitgo, just Mitgo, just the name of our company.
Yeah.
But to be honest, if there is no hashtag Mitgo, I don't come to a person and say, hey, you forgot hashtag, because I find it's a bit too much, but maybe we should also work on that. Yeah.
Sometimes when they see interesting content, they might want to see more to become more familiar with your company. It would help them to track and trace it. Thank you, Veronika, for being part of this podcast and sharing your experiences and ideas and how you lead and inspire the Mitgo employees to take part in your employee ambassador program.
Thank you for inviting me. It was really great to talk.
What an inspiring episode that was. Did you get any tips or ideas that you might want to try in your organization? I really hope that you enjoyed this episode and experience and feel inspired to come back and check at least some of the other episodes too, because there's plenty. Before you go, please subscribe, leave a review, share this episode with anyone who you think might enjoy hearing or watching it. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time. Moi moi.